Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. With me, as always, is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
The past few weeks, the topic of Asian violence has been a big discussion in the U.S., following some high-profile attacks on Asian Americans throughout the country. On March 29th, BTS released a message against Asian hate on their Twitter. In the statement, they basically talk about sending condolences to people who have lost loved ones, and they recalled moments when they faced discrimination as Asians, and their statement also talked about standing against racial discrimination and condemning violence. And I think they worded this in a really good way. It's a pretty strong statement. They made the topic personal to them when they focus on the discrimination they've experienced to relate to the overall discussion of Asian hate that's out there. And they made a point to publish this in both Korean and English. What did you think of their statement?
I thought it was, I talked about this last week. I think there's on the part of many people, there's a self-serving political agenda behind some of this movement. But, I still think it's good that first of all, I don't expect South Koreans who, work like 12-hour days to be totally up to speed on everything that's happening in America and all the nuances about what's going on in different people's agendas or whatever. Unlike some people, I don't expect foreigners to know everything that's going on in America. So probably to them, it's a very superficial, there's hate crimes happening and they're against hate crimes, which is, a perfectly fine position to have. So it's good for them to put out the statement. I don't expect them to be well read on the details of this and, to know what's really going on and all of that. I think that's something that other people have expectations about, which I think it's unfair of people who are non-Americans. So yeah, I think it was good.
I didn't necessarily expect them to have a statement either, because I felt like it was more of something happening in America as opposed to like a worldwide thing. But I think maybe they felt compelled to say something since they did comment on BLM last summer, and they felt like this was a similar situation. Although, there's differences, but I think for people in South Korea, maybe they think it's a similar thing, it's just discrimination against a different group. So let's put out our statement condemning violence in that instance too. But I do feel like this was treated a little bit differently from some of the more activist fans out there, because I do remember last summer a lot of people were kind of saying like, well, when's BTS going to speak up? When are they going to use their platform? Or when are they going to, weigh in on this? And for this situation now, I didn't feel like there was any pressure. And so I think that's better. I don't think we should be pressuring anybody to have to speak up and quote unquote use their platform. Under pressure, they should just, if they want to do it, then that's what should be the motivation, not because fans keep bothering them about it. So I think the situation was handled better this time. And I feel like they had some very similar themes to things that they've said before. So it wasn't, out of character or anything for them. They just talked about, let's stand together. Let's work against racial discrimination. And so it's similar to their BLM message, and it's also similar to things they've said in their UN speeches. So I think it was very consistent with things they've said before. Yeah, I think they had a very solid statement, and there's not much you can really criticize about it. I did see there's a couple antis out there on Reddit saying, why didn't they respond sooner? But I think it shouldn't really be about timing. It's like, this is an ongoing thing, so it doesn't really matter if and when a public figure speaks up on something. And I think the K-pop idols that spoke up first are the people that live in America, and so that's why they said something right away.
Why should they have to respond sooner? It's not even their country.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the antis were saying like, well, they need to use their platform like right away. But,
Why?
If they did that, then the criticism is something else. Then it's like, well, you're overshadowing all the other people that were going to speak up on this.
They're not Asian American.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We have disagreements about what's actually happening in this country, but I'm pretty sure there's no Americans flying over to Korea and committing hate crimes against Koreans, right? So it doesn't have that much to do with them. That doesn't mean they can't speak on the topic, but why would anyone get upset that they didn't say something sooner. So
Right.
it's very tangential to them.
It wouldn't make sense for them to be one of the first ones to say something on this topic because they're not from here. And probably them being South Koreans, like, well, let me wait and gather some more information about what's going on before I just like put a statement out there. So I think what they did was smart. They just put together a good statement and the timing was good. So I don't think there's really anything to criticize. And I think all of ARMY, I think, supported what they said. And it's just like, some random people on Reddit that had something to say about it. So I think ARMY was sad to hear that they acknowledge that they've heard discriminatory comments and they felt hurt by it and it affected them. But I think we have to realize it's like, yeah, that of course that's going to happen. They're public figures. I'm sure people have said terrible things about them that they've read. So I think that's to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, did they say online or to their face or what? I mean, online, everybody will have really bad things said about them. Yeah,
it says, we recall moments when we faced discrimination as Asians. We have endured expletives without reason and were mocked for the way we look. We were even asked why Asians spoke in English. So they didn't say like where that happened, but it could have been in person, it could have been online. But I think some ARMY maybe they were sad to hear that actually affected members of BTS. But I mean, I'm sure they were able to move past it and not take it to heart too much. But I think they said that just to empathize with the victims out there. So hopefully people aren't too upset that they took a personal comment on that. A YouTuber named Keemstar and another personality named Void have been involved in a controversy as they released a K-pop stan diss track on March 24th. The track is called All Stans Are the Same, and it was created to diss the fans of K-pop and insulted many fans worldwide. The track includes lines such as, all stans are the same, they are rotting my brain, make one tweet and these stans getting bitter. And what made a lot of people angry about this song is that they used a video clip from SHINee member Jong Yoon's funeral to mock the industry, and they made reference to the fact that he committed suicide. So everybody is, K-pop fans are pretty upset that he used this footage, and they said it's really insensitive. And I'm not super familiar with Keemstar, other than I know he's considered a controversial YouTuber, and he starts beefs with people all the time. So to me, this doesn't seem like that shocking of a thing for him to do. And I think, there's some YouTubers out there that they know that they can get a rise out of K-pop fans, and so that's why they do stuff like this.
Well, he made his name he covered the YouTube drama. That's basically how he made his name.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, obviously you're feeding. This is what he wants, right? He wants to just create controversy. Well, number one, I guess it doesn't really need to be said, but yeah, probably. I think he did cross a line talking about somebody's suicide. You probably shouldn't be talking about that. Not to say that he should be censored at all, but that's in poor taste. I think that goes without saying. But did you listen to the whole song? Because this song actually is not a bad song. I was actually amazed. It was actually not a bad. It's like better than the crappy hip hop.
Like musically.
Yeah, musically it wasn't that bad. I didn't have a terrible time listening to it. I'm just saying, I've heard worse songs, so I was actually amazed because I knew I was coming into it and said, "Oh, it's Keemstar doing a diss track. It's probably gonna be terrible." But it wasn't that hard to listen to.
All stands are the same. They're rotting in my brain. I'm on Twitter, K-pop trending on Twitter. Make one tweet and these stands getting bitter. Jimmy, I'ma say what I wanna. While you make a tweet, I make a couple commas. Each drama ain't nothing but drama. Keem on the bitch, flowing like some hot lava. Y'all idols been programmed like some Java. Owned by the industry, don't do what they wanna.
So, number one, yes, he crossed the line. It's in poor taste. Number two, it's not a bad song. Number three, this is what he wants. He wants a court controversy. And how better to do that than riling up K-pop stans, right? But let's address some of his criticisms about how K-pop stans behave and how they're irritating to everybody on Twitter. Number one, true, they are. I'm sorry if you're one of them, but yeah, I mean, K-pop stans are pretty irritating on Twitter. they often have really dumb things to say, and there's a ton of them, and they make stupid things trend, right?
They will
but here's the
brigade things.
Yes, but here's the thing. That's everybody on Twitter. Why else are you on Twitter except to get attention for acting in extreme ways? That's what social media incentivizes, right? When I'm on there, think about it. To get attention, to get validation from people, do you get it from saying more and more extreme things? Or do you get it from saying, just really plain, middle of the road things that are unremarkable?
Right.
Does that capture attention on social media? No. Therefore, social media doesn't incentivize that sort of behavior.
Being moderate doesn't pay.
It incentivizes the most extreme behavior. And since there's just a lot more K-pop stans on Twitter, it's going to be more noticeable. But they are not inherently more annoying, more whatever than your average person on Twitter. And if you want to target one demographic and get a lot of views and get a rise out of them, that's an easy one.
He did make some points about K-pop stans, just the fact that they, act as a crowd oftentimes. And
yes.
And he did say, the K-pop industry is toxic, and then perhaps that's why these suicides are happening, and there's idols get plastic surgery, and, that whole focus on appearance is, a serious topic too. But it's like K-pop fans didn't want to hear any of these points because it came from like an insulting place. It didn't come from like, I'm being constructive,
Well, and he wasn't trying to be.
Right.
These are just because they may be accurate criticisms doesn't mean that he was trying to be constructive. He wasn't. And you can take that how you will. You can say, well, that means that the criticisms aren't true. Well, no, I don't think that's the case. People who with bad intentions can make accurate criticisms. Maybe they were just lucky, or maybe they're observant. Who knows? But people with bad intentions can also make pointed criticisms, right? That is possible. But some of those criticisms are, unfair because it's just a function of there being more K-pop stans on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's just a function of that.
And the other thing is, a lot of things you could say the same exact thing about the music industry in general, not just K-pop. It's like, yes, there's corruption, there's, pressure, there's focus on appearance. There's all this stuff is happening in American music too. It's not like K-pop is the only place where any of that happens. But yeah, he wasn't trying to be constructive but I did see someone on Reddit trying to defend him on that part. Is like, oh, maybe he's just putting a spotlight on mental illness.
No, that's not true. He's trying to get attention.
In an entertaining way. It's like, no, yeah. I don't think he was doing that.
If you want to thwart him, then, don't give him attention.
He was just poking at sensitive points,
I personally don't feel a need to thwart him because he's not going to get canceled by anything you do, okay? Because this is his thing. So if you give him more attention, that's actually just good for him. But I'm not one of these people saying, don't give him any attention, blah, blah, blah. Because he's still going to be big too, even if you don't give him attention. So really, just do whatever you want. You can talk about it. You can not talk about it. It's going to be the same either way. As long as you understand his motivations and where it's coming from, I think it's fine. And some of his criticisms are spot on, maybe by luck. And some of them are not, but he's doing it for attention.
I do think that fans showed a lot of restraint this time because it seemed like not that many people were flooding comments or saying that much about it, because I didn't see it trending really. I just saw, there's YouTube comments, and then there was, on Reddit talking in, the K-pop subreddits about it, but I didn't see that much reaction towards him. And I think because they were all just trying to get it reported. They were just like, just report it and then move on. Don't spend time, trying to feed into all this. So I think some of them understand the message now. They understand what people are trying to clout chase and use K-pop for those purposes.
Report it for what?
I don't know. Just whatever YouTube you can report things for. Just pick, one of those things, just to see.
I don't know if it would stick though.
I don't think it would, because
I think you can talk about people's funerals.
Yeah.
That's a thing that you can talk about.
Last I checked, the video is still there, so
yeah.
I don't think that worked. But
that is fair game. It is like celebrity news.
But at the very least, I think it's good that the K-pop fans tried to be more calm about it, and then just like, let's just report it and ignore it and then move on, and then not get all upset about this topic.
Well, get used to it, because there's a lot of K-pop stans, and he's gonna try it again. Guarantee you.
And then I saw later on that he put out a video and he tried to blame the other guy, Void, for the whole thing. He's like, well, he wrote the music and he wrote the lyrics and I just did a small part of it. And it's like, it's his fault. I don't know if that was serious or not, or if he was just...
Yeah, he was just joking.
Trying to take the heat off himself.
No.
Because nobody knows that other guy. They all know Keemstar, though, but then it was both of them involved in the song.
No, he wasn't trying to shirk blame or anything like that.
Okay.
He invites it.
He was just trying to be funny.
Yeah. He's not trying to run away from it or anything like that.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think anyone was buying it either. They'd still hold him pretty responsible for the song. So a new K-pop idol documentary premiered on YouTube on March 31st. The description of the documentary, and it's called First Idols, and the description says, who were the first K-pop idols? This documentary looks at the state of K-pop in the 90s when original idols, HOT, took off, and what went into making them. And it has all sorts of interviews from some of those earlier generation K-pop groups. And I haven't watched this because it just came out and I just heard about it. So I don't have the full context, but I was seeing Soo Man trending on Twitter and I knew it was not a good thing. It's like, it couldn't be like Soo Man did something good and then that's why it's trending. The clip I saw on Twitter, it had a member of the group HOT doing an interview. HOT is an idol group that debuted under SM in 1996. And so this member was describing how Soo Man had this idea that he wanted to create necklaces of the idols and he collected blood and hair from all of them. And so this member of HOT was saying that this was a great business idea or something like that. And so of course everyone on Twitter was talking about this clip and they're like, what's wrong with Soo Man? It's like, that's crazy.
Right. But were they really collecting blood and hair?
Well, according to that member, like he took samples from...
And then they made necklaces?
I don't know if that actually happened, but that was what he said, why he was collecting the blood and hair.
Oh, that's creepy. Yeah, that's like a little Nas X thing. What the fuck? But years before. I don't know. If he really did that, that is obviously weird, but I guess it just goes with the whole, they're trying to sell idols to the more extreme fans, Mm-hmm. Like it's probably the say-sangs and stuff who would buy stuff like this, right?
That's true.
Who would be... really, I would imagine it's feeding into that crowd.
I did see some people commenting, they're like, Soo Man is why sasaengs exist. It's like he encouraged this kind of obsession about idols.
Maybe you have to market people a certain way to create this sort of hysteria.
Yeah, and you mentioned Lil Nas X and his Satan shoes. That's really similar situation to this.
No, it isn't. I mean, that's a whole other level.
But when you collect blood and hair, like, how is that?
But he's not putting in the product. He was just looking for DNA.
I thought it was going to be in the necklaces.
No. As far as I understand, he was looking for your DNA strand, and then he would make a necklace in that shape, even though your DNA's shape wouldn't be, like, different.
Right. Everybody's DNA should look pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's like your DNA looks the same. It's like the proteins that are different, okay? You're not going to be able to see that, visualize, though.
Right. I mean, maybe he explained it to them in a very innocent way, but when you
I don't understand what the point is, When you
collect blood and hair, people will think, oh, there's some kind of like satanic ritual going on, or it's something occult. You know what I mean? It's
he was probably like trying to drug test him.
Maybe he was doing something.
He was like I want to drug test you, but I need an excuse.
That could be it.
Because even if you collected DNA from people, first of all, your DNA would be super long. You're not going to fit it all on a necklace, right? You would fit a very small section of it on the necklace at most. So what does it even mean to have this guy's DNA? It's not even his unique DNA. It would be one very small section of his entire DNA, and that small section would be very similar to millions and millions of other people who share that same section of DNA. It's only the entire genome, right, that makes you uniquely you. Not one little section.
It's not even something you can see.
It's not like one of the small sections that determine your hair color, right? Because then everybody with that hair color shares that same section, right?
Right. Well, I was thinking he was going to put blood and hair.
And they don't even look different, so we didn't get to that. What?
I was going to put blood and hair in every piece of merch.
That's
so
ridiculous.
then I was like, wow, you're going to need a lot from each person then.
That's ridiculous. There's no way. He would have to bleed his artist dry like a vampire. I don't think that's happening. Like, even if you put a very small amount, what are you going to do? Like, take a pint of blood? But that's ridiculous. No.
Yeah, but regardless, this seems like a very strange idea that Soo Man had.
It seemed to have gone nowhere.
Maybe he had second thoughts after he collected some samples and he was like, wait, this sounds kind of crazy. Right. People may question it. And then it did remind me of, remember we did that story about the one Korean conspiracy theorist who thinks, you know, various K-pop groups are Illuminati, and then one of the people she thought was totally in it is Soo Man. So it's like, oh, this is connecting the dots right there.
Right.
But yeah, it sounds like he didn't really use it for anything. It didn't go anywhere. But this guy from HOT totally remembered that, and now it's going viral. So I think it's probably worth watching this documentary just to see if any other crazy stories come up. Jae from Day6 announced that he'll be stopping his live streaming activities after making allegedly inappropriate comments. During a recent Twitch live stream, Jae gathered attention for allegedly making crude remarks in a game. In a clip, he's heard saying, "This guy, he's my sugar daddy." And later on, he says, "Just look away," making his in-game character move in a way that resembles oral sex. Though the behavior and comments caused laughs among his friends, Korean netizens didn't find it funny, and he addressed the criticism saying he thinks it was a cultural difference. And then later on, probably after there was more negative comments, he said that he's not going to be doing any more live streaming. So I think that's kind of unfortunate that people take game stuff so seriously to the point where he has to stop doing it.
Is he American? Is he Korean? What? What was he playing?
Sure.
What was he playing and where was he playing?
Let's see. It says American singer.
But he's in Day6.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he's from California.
I mean, if you played online games at all, it's kind of it's not a politically correct place.
Yeah, there's
people say things that you would not say in polite company.
There's all sorts of comments like that, and there's even like people insulting each other and all sorts of like.
There's a lot of that.
Improper things are said, but it's all taken as part of the game. So I don't know. Maybe it was not a good idea to live stream it to where Korean netizens who might be more sensitive to that kind of stuff would see all of that. But that is pretty unfortunate that he can't do this fun thing anymore just because, some of my fans might get upset about it.
He can do it. He just can't live stream it, I guess. But
well, I was going to ask, is it a lot more fun if you're live streaming it? I'm not a gamer, but...
I don't think it's a lot more fun when you live stream, but he can make money live streaming,
Yeah, I mean...
So who was angry? Was it Americans angry or Koreans were angry?
It said Koreans.
That surprises me because I played online games with Koreans and they're kind of aggressive. They're not the nicest people either. I'm not saying Americans are nice. I'm just saying most people are not nice online.
It's not like the Korean players are super well behaved.
No, absolutely not. In some ways, they're even more aggressive or ill-tempered. Let's just put it that way. I played League of Legends with Americans and on American server and Korean server, and they're both bad. You have to have a thick skin to play these things. Because people say things. And this wasn't even anything angry or insulting or anything. It was just joking around.
No, and then saying sugar daddy, it's that's not even a...
Yeah. Were they offended because of the homosexual innuendo? What was it?
Oh, I don't know. I just assumed because it's sugar daddy, that means there's some kind of
sexual
inappropriate
innuendo?
Relationship.
Right.
Of money being paid.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as
well, I don't know.
Because of a gay thing, but...
I didn't see the comments, but it surprises me because, it's not that well behaved there either as far as online gaming behavior.
Yeah, probably what happened is some of the female fans from Korea were watching this for whatever reason,
Maybe.
and they don't know what the atmosphere is like, so they got offended about that.
Perhaps, although gaming is big in Korea, I'm not sure
Oh, so
how
now
many women game, but they're not unfamiliar with it either. So, like, they know. I would think they know. I don't know who would be offended, but there's always somebody. They're not the nicest people either, as far as online gamers go.
yeah, and it may not have been that many people offended, but maybe there was enough to where
Yeah.
some of his handlers or his manager or whatever was like, hey, you know what, maybe it's better to just not even live stream because this could get out of hand.
Right.
A new AI girl group named Eternity just released their debut music video for a song called I'm Real. The MV follows the 11 members who were created with deepfake technology by Pulse 9 called Deep Real AI, and all the members were chosen by voting earlier this year. Along with different appearances, each member will also feature a unique personality. And if you watch the video, I didn't see 11 people. I saw like 5 people. So I don't know where they get 11 from. But in the description of their video, it also had a short origin story. Basically, they're aliens and they resemble humans on Earth, and they live eternal lives. However, the flower that keeps them youthful, whatever, is dying on their planet, so they come to Earth to try to receive love or whatever, and that's supposed to help with them with their lives. So it's a very weird story for a K-pop group, but I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting, that's unique. The song, so the song's called I'm Real. It's like, wait, you guys are not real though, you're AI. So they're AI, but then also the characters are alien, so like that isn't real either. Like, as far as I know, we don't actually have aliens, but okay.
Well, they're all deep fakes, right?
Yeah.
So when you said AI, I thought it was like a ESPA, but it's not. It's deep fakes.
Is there a big difference there?
Yeah, there's a huge difference. Like, one's a computer animation, and another's more like making you look like a different person. Like in that video, they look like real people. I when I first watched it, I couldn't even tell what's AI about this. But they're deep fakes, right? Are we watching the same video?
Well, I figured that's a very similar thing. It's like it's just created from not a real person. It's just features that they've
How do those
put
girls
together.
even actually look? Or is there even like 11 of them? I don't know. It's very interesting.
Maybe they didn't show all of them in that first video.
But they just look like real people. That's how good deepfake technology is. They just look like real people to me. And then I asked, well, what's different about this? But as soon as I saw the word deepfake, I realized, oh, they're made to look like other people or some amalgam of people. The group seems to be very obscure. So I don't think I don't see it going anywhere because they have to perform, right? So people are going to see the real them.
Oh, that's true. I don't know if they have a plan for in-person anything.
Right.
But yeah, I thought their origin story was like, it was very complicated, but I was like, okay, I guess you got to come up with something. If it's not actual people, you need to have this whole story, and then it has to be they're aliens who look like humans because yes, it's deepfake, but it's still not exactly the same as humans. Like they're, just like the way their faces moved and their gestures and stuff. It didn't look 100% like.
That's because they're deep fakes.
Yeah, it's like if I saw it, I would think, well, that's kind of odd. I wouldn't think those are definitely humans that I'm looking at right now. Like it looked pretty.
They look human to me.
They look pretty real, but not like 100% to where I wouldn't question it.
I'm just amazed where the technology is because they look like real people to me. But what is even the point of that? Right? Do they just have they just want to make the members look a little bit more attractive or homogenous? I don't get it. Well,
that's the motivation that I got from it is like they're, you're a K-pop company and maybe you don't have the best talent. Like maybe they can sing or whatever, but you don't have like the most visual people, and it's like, well, let's just use their voices, but we'll do something digitally for their appearance and make them as attractive as possible.
Yeah, but like I said, they have to perform live at some point. So
yeah, there's not. It's kind of limited what you can do with these groups.
So I'm not sure where that would go. Maybe it's just like an experiment.
Yeah, maybe they're going to see like, oh, maybe everyone will like hop onto this idea, and then we can sell some albums. I do wonder, like, okay, the girls that they use for the voices, like, that has to be somebody, and they're, what are they doing? You know, they don't have, like, a traditional idol life. It's just, you know, their voices were used, and maybe their bodies, but for, you know, to do choreography, but it's like everything except your face is used. That's really odd feeling, you know?
Well, this is the future. I mean, technology is going to get so good that this is going to be the future. I'm sure of it, you know? And as far as live performance goes, like, what is even live? Who knows? Like, maybe COVID will make live performances forever defunct, right? Maybe everything will just be on screen, in which case you could deepfake everything.
Yeah, I mean, the way award shows were this year, like, nothing was live, everything was pre-taped, but you couldn't really tell. You couldn't, like, things can be put together and edited together to where you have no idea, like, when something happened or who's actually there or who's actually singing.
So maybe this is the future, this small little group. Who knows? We'll see. I think that it's going to get, whether you like it, it's going to get bigger.
What do you think of the song?
That was terrible.
The song was probably the worst part of it because just... I don't know if they just don't have good sound engineers or something, but it's memorable in like a bad way. It's like I remember the song hours later, but it's like, oh my God, that song. It's like waking up from a nightmare. It's like hearing the I'm real part.
Yeah, that's not a good song.
And some of the lyrics, it's very questionable. It's like, I want to feel your skin. I want to touch your heart. It's like, wait a minute, you guys are aliens. Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Well, I look forward to more deepfake technology.
And I do think they had a problem there with, and maybe it was because of people voted, but I thought the girls all looked too similar. Mm-hmm. So it's like, wait, who's who? Because I can only tell apart, you know, like 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe they should have a little bit more differences in the faces. But yeah, very interesting idea, and I thought it was pretty entertaining as a video. And then that company had some other later videos which actually looked a little bit better, like the faces and the movements, they looked more realistic. So it's like they're already improving on their idea. And then as far as like the looks, they look kind of like familiar, so I think maybe they use some features from existing idols and then they just like, you know,
that's how deepfakes work.
Tweak their features a little bit.
Right. They just use the best looking ones. They're all like Irene and stuff. Trust me.
I was like, okay, these girls look kind of familiar. Like maybe you're from Weekly or Brave Girls or, you know, one of those groups where I don't 100% know their faces, but they look sort of like, you know, generic girl group members. But yeah, I did see a little bit of IU influence in there. And as far as in Irene, like you were saying, that's the Korean look they would go for. Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast platforms. New episodes weekly. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast platform. Follow BTS Happy Hour on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also go to the website at btshappyhour.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional content. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.